Coming up on today's episode.
Don't give me 3 things you love. I want 3 things you hate about this property. And if you can't come up with something, that's a winner.
Yeah.
Like, we can then move on. And I've had clients go, what do you mean? 3 things I hate. And I'm like, well, that's what we're going for. They're like, but that's stupid. And I'm like, well, let's switch it. If we look at 3 things that we hate and there's nothing there, this property is going to suit you. But if you come in and tell me that you love the bathroom, did you look to see if there was any mold or if there was a leak? Did we look at the, imagining the layout, but is it actually going to suit your lifestyle? And once they get it, they're so good. Now they'll ring me in and I'll present a property and they'll ring me and they're like, oh, we already know what we hate, Sarah. I'm like, yeah, cool, sweet.
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Jo Agresta. Now, today's episode is for buyers who are overwhelmed, emotional, or just plain unsure what to look for in property. Because when you're buying your first or second home, it's easy to fall in love with the wrong one. And I think we've all been there. So my guest today is Sarah Smith, founder of SBA Buyers Agency. Now, Sarah's not your typical buyer's agent. She brings a pitbull mindset and a personal story that fuels everything she does. After getting burned herself by the industry's blind spots, she's made it her mission to protect buyers from doing the same. And Sarah's famous, this is one of my favourite things that happened when we first met. Sarah's famous for walking into a home and asking one simple question: what do I hate about this place? And it's that attention to detail, honesty, and love for getting it right that makes her one of the most trusted advocates in the game. So Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so keen to get into this. So before we get into it, today, what are we going to learn? So we'll talk about what buyers overlook during inspections and what Sarah never does, how to separate emotion from logic when buying, and the real reason why due diligence matters and how to do it without overthinking. And also how to avoid the common mistakes that lead to big regrets later. So let's get into it. Tell us, how did you get into this space? So I've got a nursing, teaching and construction background, so had in everything. But I guess the biggest backstory is when we started on our property journey, we brought a lemon. We actually brought the orchard of the lemons. And, financially, emotionally, everything, it affected us. And it cost a lot of money to get out of it. And it was then that I went, shit, there's a gap. There's a gap for buyers that are, uneducated. We were the first in our families to buy a home, so we had no idea. And we thought the agents were for us. Funnily enough, they're not. And yeah, we made huge mistakes. I was still nursing and I said to Jordan, I need to fix this. I didn't know at the time how to fix it because, I didn't really know about buyers advocates. If I did, I would have hired one. I started doing the research while still nursing and, come across this, did my real estate license, thought about becoming a real estate agent, but they're for the vendor. And I knew that buyers needed an advocate in their corner. And that literally changed, where I was going in life. And, here I am. I love that story, right? Because when we met and you said that it's such a real and honestly a common experience for a lot of buyers, right? Where they don't know that an advocate exists, so they do it themselves. And I think it's impressive that, you and your husband were the first in your families to buy. And we often talk about the uncle at the barbecue. And in your case, there's no uncle at the barbecue who's telling you property advice and how to buy. So it's a massive commendation to you to rise up and go, all right, I have to fix this problem.
Yep.
Like that. And that, I guess, it makes sense. So what was that moment, was there a particular aha moment in your, whether it's in your journey or post-purchase, like you've talked about just now, that you were like, I need to exist as a buyer's agent? Was there something that kind of triggered that moment?
Even after our purchase, I still went to open homes. I absolutely love property. And I was walking through, I wasn't actively looking to buy, but, I was walking through and you'd hear the agent say to these guys that had no idea, oh, we've already had 8 offers, you've got to put in. And, you could just see the fear in them. And I guess I knew they were going to be me. And, we were very lucky enough, I guess, to have a bit of backing to get out of the shit. Yeah. But it can ruin you. And I just didn't want people making the same mistake as us. And, you get on Facebook, you hear everyone sitting there saying that, property is a quick, rich fix, and it's not. So, my aha moment was like, these people need to be educated, and I can do that. Yeah.
I love it. And I think it's interesting that you still went to the open homes after you purchased.
I absolutely love it. I don't know why. I just, obviously we get into a house and I knew it was a lemon. So I was like, shit, how do I get out of this? What's the next one? And then, starting that to build our portfolio. But it was, just going and looking and just, going, okay, it wasn't just that one agent that was dishonest. They're good at what they do. Don't get me wrong. They're good at their job, but buyers needed someone in their corner.
Yeah. No, and I couldn't agree more. And I think, we've talked about, I guess, your journey and getting into it. What do you think, now that you've got SBA Buyers Agency, what's your personal mission that you're just, that you want to change? Because I remember you've said at the start, there's a problem that you're like, I have to solve the problem. What's that problem and mission for you?
I'm ensuring that all buyers are educated and enough in to know how to do proper due diligence, what to look at in a house, we need to make sure that it's not just a pig with lipstick on. We
love the analogy.
We need to make sure that it's structurally sound. We need to look at it and go, this is structurally sound. But we also need to change their mindset. They need to not look at that property of emotionally. They need to look at it as a business transaction and then that emotion next. And they need to have the same mindset as me. Walk into it, what do you hate?
Yeah.
And it will change everything, in that mindset of not being emotionally burned and falling in love with rejection. Every no you get, it's going to be closer to the right yes. So I guess, that's huge for me, is educating every client on how to buy a property and not make a huge 150,000 mistake like me.
Oh gosh, and it's I love that line. What do I hate? It flips the whole game on its head.
Yep.
Because like if you take any inspection, right, and I think you would have had this at the start, we've all been there, even I've been there. Even as an advocate in the real estate game at the time, I still was emotional about my purchase and I still made mistakes. And that mindset, when you walk into that first inspection, you're looking at everything that's pretty. Yep. And then you go, I love it. My dog's going to love this. My kids will love it. Look at that bedroom size and look at the backyard. And it's like, why is that the wrong mentality to have?
Because that's where you'll get burnt. Yeah. You don't. So if we look at the gloss and the pretty, not looking at, and myself again, I remember going into this house and, it was like, oh, that's my family. This is my forever home. It's never going to be a forever home. It's your season. And there was a massive crack in the wall that I didn't even look at. I literally had the blinkers on. The kitchen was great. The layout was amazing. It didn't suit our lifestyle. It didn't suit the family. You imagine, I guess, the Christmases and you look at that furniture. The furniture's not for sale, and then you put your stuff in there and your fridge doesn't fit. So you're having to buy all those extra things. You've just got to take the emotion away because emotion, you make mistakes being emotionally attached.
It's rough, right?
Yep.
Because you do come in there with that mindset, and then I guess, how have you seen your clients kind of change when you have that attitude? Because obviously if they're going to inspections themselves or inspecting what you've shown them or going with you, do you kind of see their mind start to change as soon as you kind of tell them how to inspect?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen clients grown, they're so emotionally attached. And then, I pick the lemons away before I even present a property. But then, I set the expectations straight up. This is what we're going into. I don't give me 3 things you love. I want 3 things you hate about this property. And if you can't come up with something, that's a winner.
Yeah.
We can then move on. And I've had clients go, what do you mean? 3 things I hate. And I'm like, well, that's what we're going for. They're like, but that's stupid. And I'm like, well, let's switch it. If we look at 3 things that we hate and there's nothing there, this property is going to suit you. But if you come in and tell me that you love the bathroom, did you look to see if there was any mold or if there was a leak? Did we look at the, imagining the layout, but is it actually going to suit your lifestyle? And once they get it, they're so good. Now they'll ring me in and I'll present a property and they'll ring me and they're like, oh, we already know what we hate, Sarah. I'm like, yeah, cool, sweet. And they're not, I guess they're seeing through the fluff and I guess the BS that real estate agents, can say to them. And even now I'm confident enough that if I can't go to an inspection and my clients go, they're able to do it themselves. And I guess that's proud mum moment for me, You have
to, because you have to take, that's a lot of credit to you because that mindset shift is so difficult because it's that scary step of I don't want to look at what I hate because then I won't find anything. Yeah, that's often the follow-up mentality to that part. But now you've got your clients that you've built that mindset into them that you trust them to go to those inspections and they're calling you.
Yeah.
And saying, I already know what I hate.
Like, my job's done.
You're like,
no worries. Okay.
And it leads me into the next part. Like, what are some of the top things that I guess buyers fall in love with too fast that you immediately see as red flags?
Bathrooms. They look at the bathrooms like, oh, look at that. It's amazing. I walk in and you smell mold. You smell, they haven't even checked the water pressure. And you flick the tap on and, it's either really quick or it's all sluggish. And you're like, come on, look at these issues, but they're so fixated on this pretty bathroom. They haven't, noticed those, I guess, damp spots. Layouts. Yep. They really they fall in love with the layouts. And I think a lot of that is furniture. I often say to clients, they have stylists come in. They style the homes to sell to make them look pretty. You become emotionally attached because it looks good. The furniture's not for sale. They imagine they go out to the back and the decking looks great and you can just see the yards on a slouch and you're like, mate, that rains, your whole deck's underwater. Let's have a look at those things. And I get a huge one I find is appliances. They fall in love with appliances. I'm like, dude,
what is that? What's that disease?
Yeah. I'm like, the coffee machine ain't for sale. It looks great. But yeah, I guess it's the shiny, glossy things.
Catching stuff.
Yeah, yep. Instead of, and just, those layouts, you bring it back and goes, is this going to suit you? And then I often say to my clients, okay, let's take a step out. Let's step out the front yard and let's have imagine there's no furniture in here. No paint. There's no nothing. Now, would you still buy it tomorrow if no one else is going to buy it? So let's just step back and really think about it. And they're like, oh, probably not. I'm like, no. I'm like, so we need to slow it down and really have a good hard think about it because the gloss is pretty. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. But this is your brief and it actually doesn't, it's not
conducive. It's like, what you told me you wanted.
Yeah.
This isn't meeting that in my eyes.
Yeah. Yep.
But what I love about what you're saying here is you're flipping it back onto them. You're not telling them what is wrong. You're not saying, nah, you're not buying that because you told me you wanted this and it doesn't have it. Therefore, we're not looking at it. You're putting it back onto them and empowering them to kind of look from a different lens and go, because I know immediately when you said, all right, empty the house in your mind. You're buying it. It's so true. It's like, oh, shit.
Yep.
No, I'm not. Because that rug and couch look really good. And then you start to picture your own furniture and you're like, oh, God.
Yeah. No, that couch ain't going to fit there. Yeah. And even getting them to step outside and just listen, listening at the traffic, neighbours' dogs, those sorts of things, because you're going to be here potentially 10, 15, 5, 7 years. Is this the right fit? Is this street, the neighbours, the right fit? Let's just stand back and listen. And I find a lot don't do that. They don't just sort of stop and listen and I guess listening to the sounds.
That's an awesome tip. I love that because You're so right. Like, you go to the open and it's often you block out so much. It's actually kind of unbelievable how much we block out when we're buying for ourselves.
Yep.
Like, yeah, and then you move in, you go, shit, that freeway sounds like a freight train.
Yep.
Like, my mother-in-law, funnily enough, she had a great property. She loved it, similar thing she purchased. And she's now, gotten out of that home. She's downsized, she moved into the country. And the first thing she said, she goes, that bloody freeway.
Yeah.
She goes, I did not realise when I bought my old house how shit that sound was. Every day, every night. And then my dog would be crazy, with the noise. And I'm like, wow, stop and listen.
Yeah. And it's huge to stop and listen. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for that neighbour noise too, like what they get up to.
Yeah, that's right. The car up all night, and just checking the neighbours, I guess the street as well. That's a huge thing for me, just making sure that, you're checking that neighbourhood. Even chat to the neighbours. They'll tell you.
Yeah, that's true.
Some will, it's a lovely street and you go 2 houses down. They're like, oh, mate, that one down the road, like, they're up all night, and you're like, sweet, know that one. So just chatting to the neighbours. The elderly will tell you all the good stories.
So cool. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Or you go to the community page and you post, what's it like to live here?
Yeah.
Everyone goes, shit house.
Don't even bother. And you're like, okay, thanks. Yeah.
It's like, noted.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And I think, one thing, it's like we have great neighbours when we first moved into our house. We were lucky. We were lucky. And then they approached me and said, hey, we want to buy another house. I'm like, I want to sabotage.
Yeah.
I don't want you to.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, why are you moving? And then, I helped them, of course, here and there. And then they found their property and we helped them move out reluctantly. There's a few things I'm like, I'm going to keep this and you're never going to see it again.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we had new neighbours move in and they're lovely, but there's a couple of things that I'm now like, oh my God, they do their lawn mowing at 10 p.m. Why is this happening?
Yep.
There's a lot of noise at nighttime and I've got a Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure I'm that neighbour that everyone goes, that house has a shit dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very sorry. I do a lot of yelling.
Yes,
I try my best because I know how much it's annoying.
Yep.
Because it grinds my gears. But I feel like, one thing that people could do is possibly go at nighttime on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Property, after they've done the inspection, go on Saturday night.
Yep.
And have a look at what's going on.
Yeah, drive down that street or even walk down that street. Yeah, and especially investment. Like if you flip it, if you're buying an investment, like if you're buying a dud street, you've screwed yourself.
That's true. Resale's hard.
Yeah, tenants aren't going to stay, and an investment property that's got no tenants in it, wow, that's shit. It ain't going to bring your wealth up. It's just going to eat you alive. So, investment, really, really sort of look into your streets where you're buying.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's a good tip. And I think one of the things here is, we've talked about how you kind of walk through a property. What normally for you is, what is the first thing you look at when you arrive at an inspection, and what's a deal breaker versus what's a deal breaker and what's fixable? So
I guess the first 60 seconds is looking outside. Yeah. Looking at obviously roof, the structure. Is there any movements in the bricks? What are your downpipes like? Is there, the guttering? Again, is it a good structurally sound property, or is it pig with lipstick on it?
Yeah.
And if that looks good, it's structurally sound, you go, okay, and then you're sort of going in. It's eyes up. You're looking for those cracks. If their hairline could be just potentially cosmetic, but if they're zigzag, they're wide, we're knowing there's a bit of movement, bit of structure. Smelling. Seriously, you can smell mold. And if the house is and they got candles, you're like, why is there so much candle smell? What were they sort of hiding? Why is there fresh paint? And if it's only in one particular spot, what have they hidden? I know kids put holes in the walls. I get it. I've got 4 boys. I get it. But, has it hidden mold or those sorts of things? Again, mold, checking is there watermarks on the roof, around your showers, those sorts of things. Again, checking where your power points are. Have you ever moved into a house and they've got no power points or storage? You're like, shit, I've got to, your vacuum clean. I know everyone has those robot vacuums. Yeah. I'm still old cord vacuum.
Still $100 Kmart one.
Yeah,
right.
I'm the same, $100. Yep, sweet. But checking those sorts of things too, and appliances, make sure they work.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Like, and the real estate agent will be like, oh, you can't turn the dishwasher. Yeah, man, I can.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it full cycle, but I can turn it's on. Checking hot water service and your meter board, like just checking, are they up to date, those sorts of things. And cosmetics, if you need to replace carpet or stuff like that, it's not huge. Again, investment, is it compliant? What your insurance is going to cost you. The permits, is the decking or carport all that done. So they're probably my huge things and again, your streets. Yeah, those sounds. But yeah, if it's structurally sound, good to sort of go in. But yeah, just checking those structural stuff, water pressure.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and people don't do it. I'll go through inspections and I'll flush the toilet and they're all looking at me going, what the hell is this weirdo doing? I don't think you're allowed to do that. I'm like, yeah, or even, I don't go through cupboards, but just shutting the door and it's real sticky and you're like, oh, hang on a minute.
Or the squeaky, it needs a desperate WD-40.
Yeah. Even the floor, have you ever walked through a house and it's squishy or uneven?
Yes.
And the agent will go, oh, that's just an old home thing. It adds character. And you're like, don't think so.
Soft floors isn't good.
Yeah. So those structural things are huge for me. And I guess a lot of the time they are deal breakers.
They would be.
You're not wanting to put someone into a home, whether it's investment or, owner ox. You're not wanting to put them in and they're already looking at,
renovation.
Rent 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. It's huge.
It's such a big risk, right? And I think what I've kind of picked up on is you really use all your senses when you're going through an inspection. You're touch, sight, sound, smell. It's really, I think that's a really clever way of going about it. Then you're kind of you're adjusting and focusing on one thing at a time. It's okay, I've looked. Now I'm going to smell. Now I'm going to listen. Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And even feeling, like you said.
Yeah. And
opening.
When you see a water leak, you touch it and you're like, ooh, that's a bit squishy. That's a bit damp.
Yeah. That's wrong. That's
wrong. Yeah.
I think I love this part about the inspection because we haven't covered it before. And I think that's why I really wanted to give this a focus because often this is where the money gets overspent, the negotiations start way before you've even put in paperwork. You've already started talking to the agent. So you're having all these discussions when you're in the home. And this is that part that you end up going into the office with the agent and start negotiating and you're like, oh shit, what am I doing? So having this inspection process, I think is going to be key for a lot of, best practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Help them avoid all that stuff that they fall into.
Yep. And that's right. And they've got leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Especially with the agents and the way they can kind of steer the conversation or give you answers that you want to hear. It's it's so important to be, prepared for that kind of stuff. How do you prepare your clients for the agent side of things? Where those pressure tactics come in, if you want to make an offer, you got to do it today. I've got eight other people taking an offer from.
It's so funny when you hear that. And I'll often call it out and I'll just look at them and go, bullshit. If you had 8 offers, we wouldn't be at the second weekend of open homes.
Yeah.
Come on, mate. But it's also letting the clients know that they have to be in control.
Yeah.
Don't get the fear of missing out or those scare tactics. Majority of the time, every sales agent on a Monday morning rolls on in and they're doing their role play.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're good at what they do. That is their job. And I often have to remind clients they're there for the vendor. And that's their job. So when an agent says to you, I will help you and I'm here for you too, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They're there for the vendor. They're there to get the best price and they'll squeeze every red cent out of you.
Yes.
And that's where I'll come in and I'm there for you. And, my goal is to, help you get the best price, but also educating you enough to not be blindsided by the agents and just I just say to them, just pause and just go, okay, they've asked me this or they're putting this into it and go, that's okay. I'm just going to go do my due diligence and I'll get back to you this afternoon by 3:00 if I want to put an offer in, and I'm like, you've got to take back that control because as soon as they know you're not confident, they'll eat you alive.
Yep, that's so true. And it's that pause and that step back that puts shifts the power dynamic back into the buyer's court.
Yeah. It's exactly the same with an auction. Just change change the shift. You be in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, options.
Don't be emotion. You need to look at it as a business transaction first and then your emotion next one. Or if it's an owner-occ, think you're an investor. You're investing into your future and that property is your investment. Like that's your investment. So let's look at it as business. We've got no emotion attached to it. Do the numbers add up? Does everything add up? And, is this a good fit? Is this going to build wealth?
Yeah.
Or build your legacy, or is it going to drain you?
And I think, that's really solid advice there. It's a great tip. Like, buy like an investor. Don't buy like an emotional owner.
Yeah.
Don't cry at the open.
Yeah, that's right. Wait till you get into the car and then swear and cry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And you said a key thing, which is perfect for our next part, which is the due diligence and the non-negotiables. So let's talk about that, because this is the part that saves people, from disaster before they fall in love. What's your version of due diligence, and how is it different from what most buyers think it is?
So I find a lot of buyers, when we first have a conversation, it's we'll, ask the agent some questions, or we need a build and pest. I often get, but my dad's a builder or my best mate's a builder and, but he'll come through with me. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like he can. I ain't going to stop that.
Yeah.
But you actually need an expert to do this. And I often, my due diligence, I actually love due diligence. It's, it's everything from insurance. We need to run all the numbers. And because insurance has gone up, it's gone up 10%. Like insurance is huge. What zone are you in? Are you in bushfire? Because, or flooding, especially, in these regional towns of late that have all flooded. So, some won't even insure you. So we're needing to know those, the zoning, again, neighbourhoods, price comparables. An agent could have it that it's listed at this price. Is it underpriced? Is it overpriced? So, we need to be looking at those comparables. Obviously, I will bang on about a build and pest. Like, I have a construction background, but there is no way I would sit there and say, take my full advice. We need a build and pest. Like and you need someone is good at what they do. So you do need to find someone that I guess has a good reputation.
Yeah, of course.
Don't take the vendors or the real estate agents build and pest. Get your own. So I often find a lot of those new buyers, they'll just, I guess, take their stuff.
That's so common though. Like because the agent will have professionals that they recommend, right? So they'll just go, oh, cool. We recommend this conveyancer, this building and pest inspector, and we'll just wrap it up in a neat bow. And you as the buyer, like who doesn't do due diligence, what we're talking about, goes, oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you're walking into.
Yep. And it's such a costly mistake. Even on the older homes, electrical.
Yeah, true.
Just, have a look around. I guess trust your gut. Like if something seems off, smells off, looks off, probably there's something wrong. And I guess, getting confident in what you, I guess with myself, I've been through enough homes now that you sort of get on there and you look, and don't not ever inspect a property.
Yeah, not sight unseen.
Yeah.
Did you see that article this week about the...
Oh, yeah, I did. And that was in Bendigo.
I just wanted to reference quickly, there was an article that came out that buyers agents need more, checks in their list because this particular buyer's advocate, purchased a property sight unseen for their client and it turned into a shit show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then good old Bendigo, I was like, shit, really? No, but it due diligence is so vital. I think it's probably the most important part of buying, and you need to get that right. And it's having the right people in your corner and, trusting your gut, like knowing what to look for. And I guess my goal is with my clients is educating them enough to know what to look for. Again, I've got clients now that they come in, look, Sarah, I'm like, yep, sweet, yep.
I feel like I've taught you well.
Yeah, So yeah, like it's so important, and it's checking the neighborhood too.
Yeah, that part of that. It's like it's not just the house. Like the house is one part, but then it's the suburb, and then it's the amenities and all the other stuff surrounding it. It's so important. Like, I guess, like kind of, if you can, walk us through some of your checklists. Like, what absolutely must be looked at before they make an offer.
So structure. That's the first thing. Structure. Looking, is it structurally sound? And again, that goes from,
building pest.
Another one vital is storage and power points. Is it going to suit your lifestyle? Your appliances, how old are they? Are in the next 12 months, is your hot water service going to blow up? Okay, are we going to factor in those costs? Because that's potentially going to cost us X, Y, Z. Insurances. So, I always like to make sure clients know, again, rental compliance, is it compliant? Again, neighbourhoods, like,
location.
Public location. Are you literally, I remember my house I bought was straight across the road from a school. Don't recommend it. Like, where are you located near? Like, have you got train lines, a school? Where's the public transport? Are you on a main road? Do you need a front fence for your kids? Like,
true.
All those things. I guess it's comes from the brief, but then working out, is this going to fit my season? Yeah. And layout. Layout's huge.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much stock is in layout, but you're right.
Yeah.
Open plan living versus like, I remember when me and my partner were trying to pick our home, right, we were thinking whether we build or buy established. And this established house, because I had an existing block of land, it was pretty piss cool, right? It was just my first investment. It was like, I was like 22 when I got it. And it was a very skinny block. I'm talking like a 8.5 metre frontage and 38 depth. It was just a very long thing. And I said, oh, look, I've got this land. We can build on it. And then I said, I found an inspection. I said, there's this property. We can go and check it out. It's pretty similar land, like, configuration. She died. She was like, all it was a hallway with rooms.
Yeah, righto.
Just one long hallway and one big room at the end.
Yeah.
Which was the lounge room / kitchen / living. And then just on the other half of the house behind that area, just
rooms. Yeah.
And it was pretty shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah. And it is like the layout's huge.
Yeah.
And again, taking yourself the furniture away.
Yeah.
And I guess slowing down those decisions. And, due diligence, it's don't emotionally buy. Like don't listen to the, we've had 8, like this fits you perfect. I can see, can't you imagine having Christmas here? Dude, like.
Don't ask me that.
Yeah, I can, but, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And really understanding what other costs you have other than just your mortgage is huge in that due diligence, because you don't want to buy a house and then you can't go out with your mates or go away for a weekend.
No, like you don't want to make yourself broke before you've even started.
Yeah, and you're wanting to look at it to build wealth, or potentially to build that portfolio and build wealth moving forward.
Oh, you have to. It's like, what is it going to do in the future?
Yeah.
And I think the best way is this next segment, Sarah, is my Reddit segment. I love it because we get to hear from real buyers, and this is myth busting with Redditors. So, you ready to play?
Yep, let's go.
So we all know that buying a home's emotional, but emotion and good decisions don't always mix well. So these are from Reddit itself, and this one person, the title of it, he says, almost every apartment I look at has defects. So here's the goss. I've been on the hunt for an apartment in southeast Melbourne under 600,000 for about 8 months with no luck. Almost every place has defects or is back in court. The ones without issues get snapped up before I can even arrange inspection. So, Sarah, help us with this buyer. The buyers get worn down like this pretty fast. How do you help your clients stay confident and find structurally sound homes even in tight markets like that?
Yeah, it's pretty shit, isn't it? Like, let's be honest, it is shit. And often buyers are coming to me burnt out. It's like a second job. Like, it just consumes them. And they're nearly at the point where they're like, you know what, I ain't going to do this anymore. This is shit. Like, then you'll hear, buyers will talk about off markets. It's all about the BA and or off markets. I think new clients I get, they'll go, can you get off market? Absolutely, I can. Are they the best? Absolutely not. Again, I know people are going to hate on me for that, but
I won't let them.
Yeah,
well, I agree.
It's true. Like, off markets, their vendors don't even know if they're going to sell. There's no permits, and they're not off market. No. They've been on the market, and we'll just throw in off market, pre-market. But that, I guess, is setting his own expectations. And having those real clear expectations of what he wants and needs. And those defects, are they cosmetic or are they structural? If they're structural, absolutely staying away. But I guess a little bit of education for himself about picking those red flags from day one and sort of looking at that on realestate.com or whatnot and going, okay, that's actually not going to suit me anyway. So not looking. So I guess taking away the lemons and keeping the, oranges.
Yeah, let's call them
oranges.
They're tasty under the sour.
Yeah, not as sour. And just knowing, I guess, his expectations and confidence, it's really around education.
Yeah.
And having those strong expectations. And I always say to my clients, every no is closer to the right yes. I said, and that's what we have to remember. We're looking for the right yes, not any yes.
That's true.
So we need to really focus on that. And again, it's that weeding out the lemons, expectations, and sticking to your guns and understanding the right one will come 8 months. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It is a tight market. But really don't buy for fear of missing out. Take his emotion out and look at it as a business transaction. Put his investor cap on.
Yep. It's like what would the investor do versus what would the owner occupier do?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. Spot on.
Yeah. And tell me what he hates about it.
Yeah, don't forget. I love that. That's my favourite.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that as our episode title, I think. What you hate about the property.
Tell me what you hate about the episode. Hit me up.
You are not allowed. Our listeners are very supportive. We're lucky. This next one is titled, I nearly skipped a final inspection and would have missed a major issue. And they write, it's not meant to be a forensic search. I only noticed that a sliding door had a fist-size hole and one window was acrylic, not glass. If I hadn't checked, I'd missed it. That's a perfect example of why you walk through with what do I hate.
Yep.
What are some of those small but telling issues that buyers overlook? Because I feel like that's pretty incredible that he picked a window as acrylic.
Yeah. Well done. Forensic. Yeah, I like that. And I guess it can be and it should be.
Yeah.
Because, that way you are going to pick all those little issues out. Again, it's, I guess, having that what do I hate about it, picking those points of what you do hate about it. And never, ever, ever miss an inspection. Don't not go to any inspections. Don't buy unsighted. Don't miss the final inspection, because that's when furniture's been moved and you're like, holy shit, look at that big hole that's been patched up. And I guess, what do they miss? It's the fine things because they've let their emotions overrun the show. Layout's huge. Neighbourhood's huge. PowerPoints, it's so huge. I bang on about PowerPoints. Maybe I could sell PowerPoints. What do you reckon? If I could represent of PowerPoints of where they should be, the layout should be.
Check the link below for your new PowerPoint.
Yeah. Government? No. So I guess look at it as a forensic search. Yeah.
It's the right mindset to have. It's like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And I know you we've talked about PowerPoints, but it's true. There's PowerPoints in my house that I've needed to install or get in because I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to have here now?
Yeah.
And I remember there was one PowerPoint that I actually didn't want.
Yeah, okay.
But the agent, when we built, convinced me.
Yeah.
we have it. It's in our bedroom. You said, are you going to have a TV in your room? And my partner and I are like, absolutely not, because we won't leave the bedroom. Like, that's it. We have a theatre room and a lounge room. Yeah. We'll be in the bedroom like idiots. Yeah. Acting like we're still living at my parents' place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And then we did it. And
I
don't regret it.
It's even storage.
Yes.
You know, like when you go through or your mop or whatnot. Yeah. So then, you know, you've got to go to them, well, where are we actually going to put these things? You know, like the linen, it ain't going to fit in the linen. No. Like I recently looked through a house and it didn't have anywhere, no word of a lie, had nowhere for the washing machine and dryer to go. What? And I went out to the agent and I'm like, just curious, where's the actual laundry? And she's like, no, it's here. And I was like, there's the laundry trough. And it just had cupboards. And I said, because it was tenanted, and I said, can I just open the cupboard just to see if the washing machine and dryer's in there? And she sort of looked at me silly and she's like, yeah. And it was their linen cupboard. And I went out to her, I said, where's the washing machine? Go. And the dryer, and she's like, oh, I don't know.
This is so common with agents not knowing their shit about the property.
Yeah.
And often when, you know, an advocate like yourself gets there, you're calling things out and it's like, why don't you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what? When did you go through? Like, because I was in the real estate agent hot seat. My boss was very big on us knowing a property like an actor.
Yeah.
You know, and she said, this is a role that you're playing. Know the property in and out. You need to know the square foot, the meters, the square meters, what's it made from, houses, you know, every detail.
Yeah.
So if someone happens to ask, what's the floor made out of? And you go, is it floorboards or is it lino?
Yeah.
I'm going to say lino.
Yeah.
Because I now bent down and touched it the first time.
Yeah.
And sticky. But it's those things that, you know, when agents don't know their shit, it's like you don't have to rely on the agent. This is where due diligence comes in.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just vital checking those little things. And again, I know I bang on about it, but just knowing your insurances and what zone you are in. If you're in a bushfire, flood, you know.
It's going to make a big difference in your pocket anyway.
Yep. Yep.
I like this next one because we've talked about it a little bit, but this woman writes, agent creates urgency, but I felt pushed. And it says here, many buyers rush because agents manufacture urgency, and then FOMO kicks in and and settles are too hasty. It's like, so they're kind of like not settled, right? So then, and all the decisions become too hasty. How do you help buyers, I guess, when that pressure builds, especially if you've had buyers that come at that, like they haven't used you from day one because you've already guided them. They've come in at like, I need help now. I just want you to negotiate. And how do you help those types of buyers pause and go, whoa, what are we doing?
So if it's an auction, they're actually not allowed to attend with me. They can attend, but don't stand with me because the auctioneer is trained to know if you've got more money. He knows your number. And when you get excited, when you're stressed, your emotion shows, your body language shows. So if the wife or, you know, husband's sitting there like pulling at my jacket, like, come on, go, like bid, that auctioneer knows. So I often just say, you can come by all means. There's no communication. They don't even know we're together. And that's me being able to take control, being that poker face. I've got no emotion to this house. There's no emotion. It's just a business transaction. If it's getting, I guess, a bit heated, I'll always do the, who's the bid with? Sorry? Is the bid with me? And then they don't like it, but it stops the momentum.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, okay, hang on a minute. We're coming back down. Or I'll throw, they're at 15, 20,000. I'll throw in I'll just do 5,000. Well, we're not that way. Oh, that's okay. We'll just give it to somebody else. And then, or I might get I'll change it. So I might get $1,000 bid. And then my next bid, I might bring it up 10, 15 grand. And that's confident. I just come back real confident. Again, it's confidence and body language. The same with when, I guess, you know, we are negotiating. It's knowing your comparables, knowing what this property is worth. And I guess having your three numbers is huge. So you have your ideal number, what you could want to pay, that nice number and that walk away number. And we need to walk away.
Yeah.
I often talk to my clients and go, so if it went for 875,000 and my bid was 873, would you be okay?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, yeah, we could potentially, you know, get this more money. I'm like, yeah, but then what? How is that going to affect your budget?
Yeah, that's the sticking point.
Yeah, so our number is this and we walk away. And that's with any negotiations, and just be confident and just shift the momentum. literally.
And I love that momentum shift because it is a throw off. Like auctions move quick. If you've ever attended a few auctions, you know sometimes that you see the buyers already and then it's like it's over in 5 minutes. It's sold, it's hit the reserve in like 2 minutes and you're like, shit. But when you've got a professional like yourself there who's stopping that flow and that momentum, it's like, no, we're going to sabotage this whole thing.
Yeah.
Put it back on my terms.
Yep. And it is. And it's with any negotiations. Just have it on your terms. You be in control and don't ever go over your walking away price because it just builds regret. And then life becomes boring and you're stuck. No one wants to be boring and stuck. We want to build a wealth and legacy and
Oh, spot on.
Yep.
I think, thank you for playing with me. I love that game because it's like, it's good to kind of put it into context.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, this is a real person this happened to them. How would we handle it?
Yep.
You know, this is our last segment here, red flags and client wins, right? Because I always like to bring it together. So let's bring it to life with real stories, that the things that you've seen, the things you've dodged and delivered. What's a standout moment, like with one of your clients, where you spotted a major red flag, and then you saved that buy from a bad decision?
So one of my favourite clients, we're not meant to have favourites, but he was 19.
Good on him.
And he had been sort of following me and he was doing it on his own. So I take my hat off to him. He had, bless his cotton socks, had no idea what he was doing. But he'd gone and inspected this property and he'd noted there was a few issues. He said it had a funny smell and the floor was very uneven. It was an older home and the agent was very pushy with putting in an offer. And he actually just sent me a text message. And I rang him and I said, dude, like, what do you mean the floors are squashy? Like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you know, when you like walk on a tramp, it jumps and, you know, but you're not jumping, but like, it's like squashy. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's what the floor's for. I feel like, I'm like, dude, like, no, we don't go there. And he's like, but the agent hasn't stopped calling me. I'm like, tell him not interested. Thanks very much. I'm like, or just don't answer his calls.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, but he's done his own build and pest. I'm like, man, like you need to get your own. And I said, think about it, just sit on it. I'm like, but please do not put in an offer. I'm like, I will come through this property with you. I won't even charge you. Like, dude, I don't want you to make a huge mistake. You're 19. Like, this is either going to make you or break you, and I don't want you to screw it up. And he ended up coming on as a full paying client. We got him a beautiful little unit. He's now building like this massive portfolio. I take him to seminars with me and to say, here, this is the real deal. And he's so educated now, like I'd love for him to come work for me. But, you know, he's quite successful in where he is. But it's huge and I guess it's a real proud mum moment. Like that I've been able to, I guess, guide and educate him. And you go, shit, this has been worth, you know, like this whole building of this business is, you know, because to be able to do that.
That's an amazing story. Kudos to you for, you know, building, I guess, that reputation that he was like, you know, following you, like kind of, she's onto something. Yeah. And then he had the idea to actually message and flag those things, because you've probably saved him a few thousands.
The house would have been worth like literally like pull it down and start again. Yeah.
And that's exactly, you know, well done. I think that's the best outcome. And like you said, at 19, it's meant to be something that he's trying to do to set himself up financially, could have turned into you just devastated yourself financially with this property.
Yeah.
And that's in the blink of a decision of, you know, decision fatigue. I think it's a big thing in the market that people just, like you said, I just need a yes from anyone at this point. It's like, been on the market for 8 months, I'm done. Just, cool, we'll buy it. And then you end up with all this buyer regret.
Yeah,
This is exactly what we've talked about and unpacked in this episode. So I hope this makes everyone walk away with a different kind of idea in their head. And can you tell us about a time where you've helped a buyer get the one that we all talk about and what made it the right move?
I guess I obviously got a construction business, so tradies. I remember a tradie coming to me and he had gone to his bank trying to get money. Bank said no. So very similar to our story. You know, we had 150K saved. Our bank said no. Rejection shit. Like it is so shit. Like we all remember our first rejection in high school. It's like that. It's seriously like that in the finance space. Like it's so, it's just shit. And I remember working with him, and it was from like the start, like it was finance, brokers, and then building that portfolio of where do we want to go. And I remember him saying to me, I want to pass down a legacy, not a struggle. And I thought, shit, like, this is huge. Like he's got a family, and he said, like it's hard being a sole trader, but this is where I want. So I remember him getting his first investment, and, it just gives you all the warm, fuzzy feelings, and, and to see him progress in his portfolio. And I guess he's being at home with his kids now. Like he's so more present. And that's a huge thing for us, doing this. We're able to be at home with our kids. So I guess that gave me the warm, fuzzy feeling, and how I guess each client has their own story.
Yeah.
And, no matter where you come from, like if you want to get into property,
you can do it.
You can absolutely do it. It might be a hard slog at the start, but, you can get there with the right people in your corner. Yeah.
No, that's spot on. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that's sometimes what people need to hear is kind of like, it does work. It does happen every day, multiple times a day for buyers agents in some cases, or multiple months at a time.
Yes.
So this is exactly why you get help. Let's leave buyers with a few tools that they can take straight to their next inspection. What do you think your top 3 things every buyer should check before they walk in, or a mindset shift?
The top piece of advice, honestly, is walk into a property and tell yourself what you hate about it. And it's a business transaction first, then an emotional transaction. Can't go wrong. Like, honestly, I know it sounds stupid, but once you change that mindset, every inspection is going to be different. And don't run around to 15. Literally look at them and go, is this going to work?
Yeah.
You don't need to do 15 because But what do you hate? Literally look at it that way.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah, so much for your time and for being here and sharing all that knowledge. I just think it's so powerful. And I'm sure our listeners out there have enjoyed this episode today. What did we cover today? Why your first question should be, what do I hate about this home? How to cut through emotion and buy with clarity. And the role of real due diligence, not just Googling the suburb, proper due diligence. If you want to work with Sarah at SBA Buyers Agency, we've dropped her links in the show notes. But Sarah, is there a particular place you want people to get in touch with you?
You can either jump on my socials, webpage, give me a call.
That's awesome. Thank you again, Sarah. That was great. And remember to get in touch before you buy anything. She's actually said it. Text her, call her, whatever it is. Just don't make the dumb decision.
Yeah, not at midnight though.
Yeah. Like, let's have some decorum, people. Come on, guys. Let's give Sarah a hard time at midnight. And don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to the No BS Real Estate podcast. And your next move starts with asking better questions. So ensure you get in touch, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate podcast, powered by Abodey AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodey.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodey AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodey.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.